How's that? Welcome, everybody. It's 5 o'clock. Welcome to SIM 340, Service Manager 2010, Modeling Your Business Process. My name is Sean Christensen. I'm a Senior Technical Product Manager within Microsoft, focusing on Service Manager. With me is Alexander Verkinderen. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Fantastic. Who's a Principal Consultant with one of our partners, Infront Consulting Group. We are here to talk about how you extend Service Manager to model your business processes. There's me and my contact details that you can refer to later, and Alex's as well. One thing to call out and give Alex a bit of a plug for, in August, we're going to be releasing a new book, Service Manager 2010 Unleashed. Alex was one of the contributing authors to that book. How many chapters did you write?
5.
5 chapters, okay. I wrote 4 pages. They came to me and said, can you write the licensing section? Oh, give me an interesting topic. But I did. But it didn't need any copy editing. Very excited for that one. We're here to spend some time talking about a specific scenario that you can extend Service Manager to support. Now, this is, in my opinion, the most critical business scenario for any company. I don't care what industry you're in. This is the most important one for you. Am I wrong? If this business service doesn't work, your company what? It will stop. So we're here to talk about managing coffee. Now, we're being a little tongue-in-cheek, but the intent is to show you how we extend a Service Manager to model and support your business services within your organization. How we can monitor for alerts, errors in your infrastructure, and how we can respond to those and route them to the appropriate organizations. How we extend Service Manager to handle non-standard IT assets that you might need to store inside your CMDB. So we're going to talk about what this scenario is. We're going to define that process. We're going to create a coffee configuration item inside Service Manager, define the support team who's going to support this, generate and create the workflow related to responding to incidents related to coffee, and show how some of the automation that's built into the System Center suite between Service Manager and Operations Manager can support this particular business service. We will then also, as part of that, create the necessary workflow around how we go about making changes to our business service, such as replacing the coffee, replacing the machine, and the like. And have a time for questions all throughout as well as at the end. That sound all right? And glad it's at the end of the day, because who would like some coffee? Anybody? We have some made, freshly brewed. So here's the scenario. We are, let me go ahead and build this out. Within your data center, as we talked about, coffee is one of your key business services. Whether you realize it or not, most organizations like to say, yes, it is. It's not just about coffee. It's about your critical business services in your data center and how you go about responding to errors in the infrastructure when an outage occurs. Be that a rack goes down, an entire data center goes down, or you're out of coffee, if you remember the movie Airplane. When that's down, yes, you hit the panic button. Got to get it fixed. It is, jokingly, one of those business-critical services that we often overlook. So here's our scenario. We need to capture, be able to look up and reference our coffee CI. We need to take care of and manage the appropriate warranty and support aspects of ensuring that we always have a working machine. We also need to make sure that we have an adequate supply, an appropriate supply of coffee to be able to ensure that our employees have access to coffee and can maintain proper caffeination and get their work done. And keep track of the inventory of the different types of coffee machines that we might have inside of our organization. So we're going to take a look at each one, some of those different areas. We want to be able to report on that. Maybe find a different type or capture different types of requests for coffee. And then also dealing with how do we keep track of those changes that we want to make for this particular business service. So in defining that process, there's a couple of different aspects from IT service management. One is managing the configurations, managing the different types of coffee machines that we want to store and keep track of in our environment. We then need to take into account that we have a support team who's going to manage this and support coffee. We need to be able to respond to errors, respond to incidents related to coffee being empty, coffee supplies needing to be replaced, and the like. And then also managing changes. If we need to fix any or make any adjustments to the machine, we need to change the type of coffee that we're wanting to make each day, or we want to get an espresso machine, and not just a $20 Black & Decker Mr. Coffee from Walmart. So Alex, that's what I want to do. Tell me how you're going to do it.
So how many dev guys do we have in the room? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So first of all, especially for you dev guys, it's very simple. You just need to create an XML file, and then on line 10 you need to create a relationship. Then on line 11 you need to create...
Wait. Excuse me?
Okay.
Do you really have to do this?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's take one...
I know I'm a marketing guy, but can we make this a little bit more straightforward? Can you make it simpler for me?
Let's take
Anybody?
one step back. No one wants coffee?
No one wants coffee? You sure? Yeah? Okay. We got a taker here. Who else?
Okay, so in the meantime, when we want to extend Service Manager or customize Service Manager, we need to create a customized management pack. So management pack is, in fact, a simple XML file, and with the management packs you can extend Service Manager. In fact, when we look at Service Manager, you can see it the same way as an Xbox. So you have your little device, Xbox, you have your game controller, but you can't do anything with it. You can't play games. You still need the DVDs to put in an Xbox, and then you can play your games. Well, Service Manager, the same thing. You have Service Manager, the foundation, but you still need management packs to do something with Service Manager. So we have the Incident Management Pack to do incident management. We have the Problem Management Pack to do problem management. Now, if we want to do something that's not out of the box in Service Manager, we need to develop our own customized management pack. And that's what we will do today. We will create an own customized management pack to put the coffee machines in Service Manager. So in that custom management pack, we will create a new class being the coffee machine class. Then on that class, on that custom class, we will add properties. So Sean wanted to see the location of a coffee machine,
yep.
The blend, model, anything else you want to see?
Who made it?
Okay, so we will add properties on those classes. After that, we will seal the management pack with a certificate. So when we seal the management pack, we can import that management pack in Service Manager, and we can use it also for reporting, and it will be published in a data warehouse as well. Once we have sealed the management pack, we will import the management pack in Service Manager, and we will be able to create a new configuration item, a new coffee machine. So before starting creating a new management pack, let's have a look at the new management pack improvements. So in System Center Operations Manager and System Center Essentials, we also have management packs, but those management packs are made with XML schema version 1.0. Service Manager 2010 introduced XML schema 1.1. So all the new versions of System Center, so System Center 2012, will use this new XML schema 1.1. Now, this new measurement pack XML schema introduced some new data types. For example, we can now use binary data types to store large pieces of information. We have rich text enumeration. Enumeration will be used, for example, to define a list and then predefine values of those lists. We will see that later on today. And we also have new schema elements like regular expressions, auto increment. That's the one thing that we will use today as well. So auto increment will be used when we have let's say an ID. So every coffee machine will have a unique ID, being 1, 2, 3, and so on. So it will have an ID, and that ID will have an auto incremental. And we will also use type projections. So type projections is something new also in the XML schema 1.1. A type projection is in fact, let's say, the same thing as a SQL view. So you have a SQL table, and in a SQL table you store your data, your values. And then in a SQL view you can publish or show or combine information from multiple tables in one single view. So type projection is the same thing. In Service Manager we have CIs, let's say a server or a computer, and when I open the configuration item computer, I want to see information from different tables in that same single form or console. I want to have computer information from Active Directory. I want to have computer information from SCOM. I want to have computer information from SCCM, and so on. So all those information that's stored in different tables, and with a single form, we will use then the type projection to show that information. And we also have measurement pack bundles in Service Manager. So measurement pack bundle is in fact an MSI file that contains a measurement pack, pictures, reports, anything else. Now, the moment we import a measurement pack in Service Manager, it will be cut in little pieces. So if in your measurement pack you have views, customized views, those will be stored in the view table. If you have templates, those will be stored in the template table. Now, we will create a new class for the coffee machines. So any new class will be stored in a new table. So a new table will be made in the Service Manager database. Now, if we just extend an existing class, then new columns will be added to an existing table. And then we have all kind of other information like pictures, any custom scripts, any custom code, and so on, that will be stored on the server as well.
So that's all nice, but let's get down to it. I want to see you I want to see the input form that we're going to use inside of Service Manager to enter in coffee machine information. So can you make me something that looks sort of like that, which is a Service Manager screen?
I can do that, and I can do that in, let's say, 10 minutes without even opening the XML.
So, does that sound good? All right, go do it.
So that's the Service Manager authoring console. First of all, we need to create a new measurement pack. We will call that the coffee MP. Now that the measurement pack has been made, we just need to create a new class. So that was the second step. We will create a new configuration item class. And we will call it, let's say, machines. So we will first of all create a base class. That base class will then contain properties that all the child classes, like coffee machine, tea machine, whatever machine you want, they will inherit the properties of the base class. So machines.
While Alex is creating that, one thing when it finally dawned on me in how to extend Service Manager, you start with what is the information you want to capture and store. Understand that. That first allows you to then define what the form is and how you want to represent it. And then how do you want to generate workflow to act upon it. If you start with those three things in mind in that order, adding customizations or extending Service Manager becomes a very simple drag and drop, as you're seeing.
So we have our base class called machines. We will now create a new property, ID. And we will machine ID. And that will be our auto increment key, and it will be the primary key as well. Oh. Now the default value will be, so by doing that, by specifying this default value, every time I create a new configuration item, the auto increment feature will auto increment that ID. So that's the default value. So it's now 0, and it will then auto increment 1, 2 each time I create a new configuration item. Now I can create another property. I will also use I have to be very careful with this keyboard because it's a US keyboard. And in Belgium we have another keyboard. So now this one will not be a string, but it will be a date time value. Okay, so now we have already 3 custom properties. We will now create a custom class, being the coffee machine class. And this coffee machine class will inherit the properties of the base class.
So the benefit here is we're creating a class of machines, and then we're saying there's a subclass called coffee machines. We might want to say create another class off of this called copier machines. And therefore, we can use that same machines class and add in another subclass off of it and inherit values from it and then extend it further.
Yeah. So you can see this coffee machine class has inherited the properties from the base class, being machine ID and this one as well, and location also. So we will delete this custom property 7. We don't need that property 7. And we will just create another one being warranty. Okay, Sean. So
yep.
That's it. We have now created 2 custom classes, the base class and a coffee machine class, with custom properties. Now we only need to create your nice looking
I want
form.
my form. I want to see the form.
Okay. So for doing that, we just right-click on Forms, create a new form. The base class will be the coffee machine class. I'll give it a name, coffee machine form. So now by just drag and drop some objects, I can easily create a nice looking form for you, Sean. So let's give it a title, this will be the. So you can just change this information, and that will be the. So this will be the ID that we just created, and then you need to bind the objects to the properties. So we select now this label, and we will bind it to the machine ID property that we just created. We will do the same thing with the purchase date. So let's label, change that to purchase date. And now we will use the date picker object and bind that as well to our custom property. So without any XML coding, without any development, by just drag and drop and then bind the information, the properties, we can create a nice looking custom form. So I will not use this one. I already created a custom one. So we have sealed the management pack. We have imported the management pack in Service Manager, and then it will look like this. So now we have a custom view called Coffee Machine, and we can now easily create a new coffee machine. And there you go, Sean. You have your nice looking form. We can specify the location.
Atlanta?
Yeah.
Keyboard, right?
Yes, indeed. So we want an espresso machine, and this asset or this configuration item has been purchased. There you go, Sean. Now we have our we have a new configuration item that we have created with a nice looking form.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Well, that looks good. Now, so you got me an ability to actually enter my coffee machines into Service Manager. Now we got to be able to respond to those. So we've got our coffee service desk. I went out and I hired the best people I can find to support coffee. They're all European. We have Carlene, who's going to be our coffee lady. Not saying anything, but she's going to go help make sure that we get enough coffee out there. We got Luke, who's our coffee manager, and Arlindo, who's going to maintain any issues related to the actual machine itself. So we're going to get them involved. They're going to be a new group that I've hired to be part of my service desk. And I don't want the rest of the service desk to be bothered with coffee-related incidents. I want this group to get that stuff automatically. So can you do that for me?
Yes, I can do that. But before doing that in Service Manager, let's have a look at the queues and the groups. So the big difference with queues and groups is that queues, we will use queues as a collection for work items. So a work item can be an incident, a change request, a problem, and so on. So queue is a collection of those work items. Now, a group is a collection of configuration items, like the coffee machine. And we will use the queues and the groups to scope down the console in Service Manager. So, for example, Luc, who is the coffee manager, he will only be able to see the change requests applied to the coffee machines. So by working with the queues and the groups, we can scope down the console, and we can use it for security scoping, notifications, and so on. So we will, first of all, create a new
So if I understand correctly, what you're creating here is basically the ability for the coffee support team to only see coffee-related incidents.
Yep.
And the rest of the service desk team is not going to see anything related
Yes,
to that.
that's correct.
So we can make it such that specific groups only see information related to what their particular function is.
Yeah, indeed.
So whether it's coffee, whether it's server administration, database admin, we can separate it out
Yes,
into
indeed.
different queues.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Carry on.
So let's have a look at how we will do that. So before creating new queues, as you can see on the previous slides, a queue can use dynamic inclusion. So we can create a queue based on certain values. Okay. So we will first of all extend some lists that we will then use in the queues. So for example, classification. So as you can see, in this list, we have email, we have printing problems, software problems, and so on. But we don't have coffee problems. So let's make a new classification, and we will then use that classification to create our own custom queue. And we will do the same thing for the change requests. So we have security problems, messaging problems, and so on. And we will now create a new coffee change request. So now we have customized those lists, and we will use those custom values in the queues. So let's make a new queue. So we will create a new queue so that Luc, who is the change manager, can only see change requests related to the coffee machines. So the work item type will be change requests. Okay, so now we need to specify what kind of change request he will be able to see. And he can only see the coffee-related change requests. So now we have our queue. Now we still need to give Luc permissions to see those queues. So now we need to go to administration, and then in user roles, we have all. So in user roles, you can see different kind of user roles. We have the administrator, we have the end user, we have the read-only operator, incident resolver, and so on. And we will now create a new custom change manager user role, being the coffee change manager. And we will specify that that coffee change manager can only see the coffee queue. So now we specify that that coffee new user role can only see the target coffee queue that we just created. He can do all kind of different tasks. And now we need to specify the user. And now Luc who is the change manager, will only be able to see the change request related to the coffee machine. And you can even, if you want, go deeper. You can, if you want, if I go back, you can specify that the change manager for the coffee machines can only apply specific templates, or can only see custom views, or can only apply or create new custom tasks. So you can go deeper if you want, and you can scope down the user role as deep as you want. Okay, so now Luke, who is the coffee manager, will only be able to see his change request related to the coffee machines.
So you created the coffee change manager. We've got the incident workflow. So I want them to get, excuse me, want them to be able to get their incidents that come from a number of different locations. So we have somebody who may, they're going to send an email from their phone. They walk by the coffee machine, realize, oh, you know what, it's empty. Take out my phone, send an email to the service desk. Please replace the coffee. I might have somebody that wants to go to a web portal and log that in. So they come back, they don't have their phone, it's sitting at their desk. They go back to their desk, realize, you know what, I can go to a web page and log that. Or what would be really nice is if they didn't have to, and we could automate that. We could watch for the coffee to be empty and maybe flag an alert that creates an incident. So we don't have to think about it, it just happens.
That would be cool.
That would be cool, wouldn't it? Would that be cool? And if we can do that, we can get some automation in place so that those incidents are automatically routed to my coffee team, and that they can then take the necessary action to either replace that, get it fixed, get it back up and running so that we have an never-ending supply within our organization. Is that possible?
That's possible.
Fantastic. How long?
Let's say 10 minutes, and also without any coding.
10 minutes without what?
Any development.
Okay, 10 minutes without development. Show me.
So, first of all, in Service Manager, you have, like Sean told us, several ways of creating incidents. So the end user could use the self-service portal and create a new incident related to the coffee machine being empty. So we can create a new request. I need help with a problem. My coffee is empty. So I specify my classification. So it's a coffee problem. Help
Urgency shouldn't be medium. This is more important. Exactly. Urgency, high.
Of course, that's high. Then next, and now by submitting, a new incident will be created in Service Manager. So that's one way of doing it. I could also easily send an email to the service desk. So by sending an email to the service desk saying the coffee machine is empty, or hey, I would like a different blend. Now I want Brazilian coffee. So by sending an email, an incident will be, or a change request will be created as well. Now, as you can see in all incidents, in the portal, so a new incident has been created, but the analyst or the first line help desk still needs to fill in a lot of those fields. And my analyst in my company well, they're kind of lazy. They just want to be able to apply a template, and that template will then fill in those fields for them. But I don't have a coffee incident template, so let's first create a new custom template.
What templates allow you to do is embed your business, your IT support logic into Service Manager such that it is applied to an incident, to a problem, to a change request based on attributes of that particular work item. So in this case, the template's going to apply itself to an incident related to the coffee machine.
So I will create a new coffee incident template. And it will be an incident template. So now I can specify all those values. And when my end user or my analyst will apply this template, all the fields of the incident that has just been created will be pre-populated with the values that we now specify. So in 2 seconds, he can apply the template, and he doesn't need to fill in all those values again. Of course, it's escalated. And I can assign my coffee incidents to my coffee lady. And I will also specify my coffee machine configuration item that we just created. Okay, so now everything is filled in. Okay. So now that we have created the incident templates, we can apply the template to the incident that we just created. Let's skip this one. So another way of creating incidents is by automation.
Yep.
So
Tell me.
So we have this nice looking coffee machine, and we also have a webcam. So Sean wants to be able to monitor this coffee machine 24 hours 7. So if at 2 a.m. in the morning,
Yep.
the coffee machine is empty, an alert will be generated. That's what you want?
That'd be great.
Cool.
We got people working at 2 a.m. in the morning.
So first of all, we need System Center Operations Manager for that. So SCOM will monitor the coffee machine. And because a coffee machine is not something that is being monitored out of the box by Microsoft, we need a custom management pack. Just like Service Manager, in SCOM, we also have custom management packs. So anything that you want to monitor that's not out of the box, you can create a custom management pack to monitor that. And the only thing you need to have is an input and an output. So the input, in this case, is the webcam. This webcam will take every 10 seconds a picture, and we will then analyze the amount of black pixels in that picture, and based on that, we will then create a warning if the coffee is
If it's low.
It's low, yeah, let's say under 50%. And if it's under 20%, we have a critical.
Sounds right. So based on this, we have an empty pot. We should see a critical alert.
Indeed.
in Operations Manager.
Finger crossed.
Fingers crossed.
So you can find that coffee management pack on this website. If you want to download it and install this business critical management pack.
You need an HD webcam. This is all, yes, this is all tongue in cheek, emphasizing the capabilities that Service Manager has to expand, but you could take this, you could repeat it inside your organization and have a little fun with it. This is intended to show you the capabilities that Service Manager provides for extending beyond what we provide out of the box. Let's go to Ops Manager and see it. Some of you may have seen, this was actually a YouTube video back in 2009 when someone actually wrote this management pack. Where we have taken it further is being able to flag that alert, but then because of the integrations within System Center between Ops Manager and Service Manager, roll that alert into an incident and automatically assign it so that you can resolve the alert and close it out. So end-to-end, being able to find an error in your infrastructure that may not be an out-of-the-box piece of infrastructure and ensure that you can support it effectively within your organization. You may not have something as crazy as monitoring coffee levels, but you may have another mission-critical business process that you need to monitor and you need to respond to and be able to route incidents to a specific support group so that they can make sure that that service is up and running and is available to your business.
Well, and I have to say, we're not the only crazy guys doing that, because I know one guy, and he has developed a custom management pack in SCOM to monitor his fish. So he had a very...
Monitor his fish?
Yeah, so he had an expensive fish, and based on...
It's what's valuable, okay.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
But it's all possible. As long as you have an input and an output, it's possible.
The key thing here from Service Manager is knowing how to extend Service Manager, knowing how to create those automated routing workflows for the support teams, being able to capture those CIs and add in your additional values. Everything you saw here, you can go home, go back and do today. Even if you're evaluating Service Manager, download the eval, grab the authoring tool, and play around with creating additional classes and new workflows.
So now, the big moment.
Let's go. I want to see, can we see an alert? I don't know why that's happening.
That's an alert.
That's not an alert.
So now you can see the webcam taking every 10 seconds a picture. So now we have an alert.
There you go. And
it's totally empty. So no coffee anymore.
Do we have an incident?
And we have an incident in Service Manager. So if you go to the All Operations Manager incidents, we should have an alert. Oh, there it is. So you can see that we have an incident in Service Manager based on Operations Manager.
Fantastic. What do you think? Yeah? So again, the benefit here is the end-to-end support for your business service, regardless of what it is, for your organization using System Center, Operations Manager all the way through to Service Manager, and then back out again. And we would see, we go ahead and make some more coffee, we see our alert clear. And if we using that integration, we would see the incident resolve itself inside of Service Manager, or as the incident resolves itself inside of Service Manager, clear the alert inside of Operations Manager. Now, the upside is, then if it takes another photo and still sees the coffee pot empty, it's going to flag an alert again. So the service desk team is going to have to make sure they do their job. Okay, so now we've responded to incidents related to our coffee machine. I'm sorry, I don't like Mr. Coffee. I like my Americanos. I know you like your double espressos. We need something a little bit better. So can you show me how we can manage that change? Not just, well, in this case, we can start small. And let's just look at changing the coffee blend, maybe, and get something a little bit better than whatever I grabbed out of my hotel room this morning. And make sure that we grab the appropriate policies related to my coffee, get the necessary approvals. And then get an email sent out to is it Arlindo? Yeah,
Yes.
he's
Yep.
who can actually make that change to the appropriate blend. Is that possible?
That's possible.
Okay.
That will take like 5 minutes,
Okay.
and also without any development.
Fantastic. Off you go.
So, first of all, we need to create some templates.
Now, what is a template?
So a template is a form with pre-populated values. So we just created the incident
Yep.
template. We will now create a change request template to change the blend of the coffee.
It looks like we've got, you create one for me already?
So I will, yes, so this one we created this morning. So in this custom template, so so it's important to know that in a change request, you have several activities. So in one change request, you can have a manual activity,
Yep.
being changing the blend, but before the blend, we change the blend, it has to be approved by a manager. And that's a review activity.
That's so they don't go off and like ask for, say, Jamaica Mountain Blend, which is like $300 a pound.
Indeed,
Okay.
indeed, yeah. So we have manual activities and review activities, okay? So this one is a manual activity. So the manual activity, change coffee blend activity, it will be assigned to Arlindo. He's the maintenance guy, and he needs to change all the blends in our company. The priority is, of course, immediate. And the impacted configuration items, that will be our coffee machine,
Go up. Coffee class?
Come on. Okay. So now we have our manual activity. Now we will create a change request template that will contain this manual activity, but also a review activity. So let's create a new coffee blend change. That will be a change request. So now we have our change request, template, change request, and template. And in that change request, we have two activities. One being a review activity, approve changing blend. And the reviewer will be Luke, who is the change manager. So Luke is a change manager, and he needs to approve any change request regarding changing the coffee blend. So that's one thing. Now we have a review activity. We still need a manual activity for the changing the coffee blend.
So that's the activity that we created earlier.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So now we have a custom change request template with two activities, being the review activity and the manual activity. So now we will create a new change request based on that template that we just created.
Uh-oh. We will try to.
Let's do this again quickly.
While Alex is trying that, any questions so far? Okay. Sorry? It is easy. The intent when we built this was to build a lot of those workflows for you out of the box. And then if you wanted to extend it, to make the ability to extend as simple as dragging and dropping fields and forms.
But 10 isn't this way, right?
12? This is 10. This is 10. This is 2010. 2012, the look and feel gets a lot better as well. So, but what we are using here is Service Manager 2010, which is currently available.
And the authoring tool is automatically part of that?
The authoring tool is a separate download, but it's on Microsoft.com/downloads. Download the authoring tool. The other benefit is the authoring tool you need to have access to the management pack libraries for Service Manager, but you don't need a physical connection to the server. So you can basically write your customizations on your laptop and then import that management pack into the server when you're ready to import it. You got it?
Yes.
All right.
So now, in change management, we will create a new change request to change the coffee blend. So we create a new change request with a new coffee template that we just created, being the coffee change request template. And as you can see, the activities, we already have activities in it. So first of all, Luke needs to review this activity, and he needs to approve this activity. Only then we will move to the next activity, being the manual activity. And then the coffee maintenance guy needs to go to the coffee machine, change the blend, come back to Service Manager, and say that he has completed this manual activity.
So we got our standard change request there.
So we have our change requests. Now I will
You're logged in as you.
Yeah. Indeed.
So we're going to go ahead and log in as Luke. It wants to connect as you. approve it.
So I'm just logged on now as my with my user. So we will just approve the activity manually. So now you can see that this review activity is still in progress. Now we need to approve this activity, and once it has been approved, the next activity will start being changing the coffee blend. So now I will approve this. So now this review activity has been completed. And now we will go to the next step and change that coffee machine, that coffee
Change the coffee blend.
coffee blend, yes.
So once we approved that review activity, so the change request has gone in, the manager has reviewed it and said, yep, go ahead. Once it's approved, it automatically steps to the next activity in line and assigns that out. And the change implementer, the activity implementer can go ahead and work on that change.
Yeah. So now Arlindo, who is the coffee maintenance
Yep.
guy, he will change the coffee blend, and he will then put that manual activity to completed, and then a change request can be closed, and then we have a complete change request workflow with manual activities, review activities, and so on.
Fantastic. Any questions? Any scenarios in your mind of, hey, can Service Manager help me address a specific issue you have? Part of those also incorporates notifications within Service Manager out to change approver, out to maybe the person that logged the incident, saying, hey, we've logged your incident, here's the number so you can call and reference it. With the Exchange connector, it can actually process that approval. In this case, you see an example of the review activity sent to the manager. All they need to do, hit reply, put the word approve in brackets, or another word, hit send. Service Manager will actually process that email and process that review activity and mark it as completed. Don't even touch a console. All you're doing is using email. That can be just as easy from your phone. We've had other customers, one customer in particular, that actually embedded a mail to link, hyperlink, in their outbound email notification for review activity so that the manager saw an HTML rendered 2 buttons, approve, reject. And that HTML created a new email properly formatted. So they click the button, click send. Much easier to do, but all that possible without any coding inside a Service Manager out of the box. So we talked about creating that change request workflow. So we've walked through a humorous example of how to map a business service and support that business service. When you think about putting that into Service Manager, one of the things we talk about is beginning with the end in mind. What is the information you want to get out of this? What do you want to be able to report on? And that will drive some of the workflow and some of the information you want to make sure that you capture. We've shown you how easy it is to create a customized configuration item, to extend the data model that we provide out of the box, and add in your own configuration items into the CMDB so that you can track those. We showed you how much you can do without writing a single piece of code. Now, can you? Yes. We have a full API interface. You can write custom connectors, custom capabilities. You can do Visual Studio form creation and then add that into Service Manager if you want to. Or you can do what we showed you here and what I showed you in earlier sessions if you were attending some of the ones this morning. We showed you how to build specific workflows so that specific groups receive their incidents. Specific changes go to the proper change manager so that you can automatically route information to the right people, the right time, the first time. But with all of this, planning is a key element. Mapping out your process, understanding what your process is, not just from the process or the service that you're delivering, but the support processes associated with it, is key to ensuring that this is successful. Underline, planning is key. And with that, that's the end of our session. We've got about another 13 or so minutes before it ends. Service Manager has had a number of sessions here at TechEd so far this week. We've got a couple more happening tomorrow where we will actually showcase to you the next release of Service Manager, Service Manager 2012. That is SIM 210 tomorrow afternoon, I believe 2:45, where we are showing, as I said, the next release of Service Manager and some of the new features happening there. There are a number of hands-on labs that we have down in the lab area. Please take advantage of those as you would. And with that, I want to remind you of the different track resources that we provide off of Microsoft.com. Some of the additional resources for TechEd. And don't forget to please complete your evaluations. I make a point, I read that feedback. If there's more stuff you want to see, great. If you enjoyed the session, a good rating is always appreciated. And with that, make sure you scan your tag. And Alex and I, this is the last session of the day, so Alex and I will be around to answer any questions you might have. I really thank you for your time today. Alex, thank you for taking the time as well. And I'll leave that tag up. Enjoy the rest of your week. We got one more day to go.